Hello and welcome to Wisdom Chats for the Curious. This is a weekly show that we do every week at 7 o'clock Central Time on Tuesday evenings. The only time we didn't do it, I think, was like Christmas Eve or something. New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve. Otherwise, we're here every Tuesday night. And tonight we have a special guest with us, Peggy Sue Skipper.
It's so good to be here. Thank you, Marion. I haven't talked to you in a while, so this is great just to
I know.
reconnect on a personal level.
We get to catch up.
Yes, yes. So catch me up.
Well, it's fun because, you're always game for whatever. I mean, remember that time we went into the mall and we just wanted to take pictures? So we went into rooms at the West
That was
End.
yeah, at the hotel. Yes, we did. I still have those pictures.
Me too. I
Yeah,
thought that was fun. I
we
had a
got some.
great time.
We got some good shots, and I used those shots.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
I love spontaneity. I think that is where, at least for me, it's somewhere some of my best experiences come. And I have certain friends that I know are my spontaneous friends. Like I can call them and say, "Hey, let's go do." And if they can, they will. And they know that about me too. I can't, you can't always do it, but I love that. I think everyone needs to have some spontaneity in their life.
I agree. I agree. I love that. I just get a whim and go, and a lot of people are like, "Whoa, Marion, I
Yeah,
should
right.
take some time to think about this." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take time later. I
Yeah,
gotta go right now." That's why we get along so well.
I know, right? It's true. I remember one time I met this woman in a workshop I was doing on a weekend workshop, and she was getting ready to move from Cabo San Lucas back to Houston, and she was going to drive, and she was kind of nervous about that. And I said, "I'll go with you." I had just met this woman. I flew to Cabo, helped her load her car with her cat, and we drove all the way from Cabo San Lucas back to Houston, Texas.
I didn't know you could do that.
It was an adventure.
I bet.
It was an adventure. Man, there was a little, some of it that was a little dicey. Like we blew out the oil pan of the car right in the middle of nowhere, Mexico.
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah. Had to be towed with a rope by this old pickup truck. It was crazy, but it was part of the adventure.
I went to Mexico once by car, and I was young, and my sister and her boyfriend drove us. He had a hatchback. Remember those?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And he had a bunch of clothes in the back, and a tie was sticking out, about so much at the back of the car. And when we came back, we parked the car and went somewhere to eat, I guess. And we came back, there were about 4 or 5 people tugging on that, you
Oh,
know, trying to get the car open or get the tie out or something. I don't know. It was crazy.
oh dear.
I
Oh
had a
dear.
good time though. The margaritas were great, and the people were
Well, you
friendly.
couldn't have been too young if you were drinking margaritas.
Don't tell anybody, but my sister got me drunk, and I was not of age.
How old were you?
I don't know, but I was pretty young.
Oh, wow. Well, obviously it didn't do any permanent damage.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. You can use that as an excuse for anything other people might think is permanent damage. It's my sister's fault. She took me
Well,
to Mexico and forced those margaritas down my throat.
that was the second time she got me really drunk one time. She owned Arthur Murray Dance Studios.
Oh,
And
you're kidding.
no, I'm not kidding. And that was fun. And we had a lot of fun. She took me to Cherry Hill, New Jersey for some competitions at the Playboy Club. And once again, I wasn't of age, but they back then, it's a long time ago. Back then, they let you get away with stuff, right? And she let me have as many drinks as I wanted to. Well, I didn't know. When you're that young, you don't know. I ended up in the shower with my clothes on.
Oh,
Seemed like hours. Yes.
huh.
Uh-huh.
Did you get sick?
I don't remember getting sick, but I just remember having the shower hit me,
Oh,
for hours, it seemed like. Yeah. My
well,
sister.
our well spent youth.
Right.
We learn from those, right?
Yes, now I limit myself to 1.5 margaritas at the most. That's it.
1.5. Now that, Marion, that sounds wasteful.
Well, no, because Becky will drink the other half. See?
Oh, okay. All right. As long as you're not wasting it.
No, no,
Okay,
no.
gotcha. So,
Oh,
so
dear.
what would you like to talk about tonight?
I really am curious about so many things, and that's probably why I get myself mixed into so many different avenues. I'm curious about this, and I'm curious about that, and I'm even curious about what you're curious about. So I would really like to dive into, and it doesn't matter what it is, even if you want to talk about you know who, I really want to know what's caught your attention lately, and let's dive into that a little bit.
Okay, well, I don't know if you remember, but I did have a group that met weekly for a number of years, starting in 2011, called The Consciously Curious.
Yes, I
And it was
remember.
exactly what you're talking about here is there was no subject that was off limits. It's like, what are you curious about? Surely some other people in the room have some input about that. And that's really what that group was about. Now, it was interesting, the topics that we came up with, because just like spontaneity, I think, especially conscious curiosity, it's absolutely essential for conscious evolution. I mean, our curiosity is what teaches us what we don't know. And the old saying, how do you know what you don't know? Well, when we get curious, it gives you that opportunity to find out what you don't know. And I
Right.
think that people who aren't curious about what they don't know have a tendency not to grow and to become a bit stifled in their lives.
I would
So,
agree with that.
yeah.
We've got some comments. Karen, who's in YouTube, is asking us, isn't all life an adventure and curiosity?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I give
Oh,
you an amen on that. I believe that is absolutely true. Or for people who are enjoying their experience.
right. And there are people, and don't get me wrong, if you're one of these, I'm not trying to make fun of you or anything, but
If
sometimes,
they're one of those, they're probably not listening.
well, this is true. That's true. So don't tell them I'm talking about them. The people that, in my opinion, have no game, if you know what I mean,
Mhm.
they never go anywhere. They never want to be with anybody. They just want to stay home and do nothing. They ain't got no game. That's what I say.
Well,
They aren't curious about much.
well, that's true. But I will, in their defense, I'll play devil's advocate
Okay, good. Please, please
because
get me out of this hole.
yeah, I think we're all here for a purpose. I really do. And maybe some people's purposes in this lifetime, at this time, don't require curiosity. That they have a set purpose. They're doing that purpose. They're happy or with whatever they're doing. So, um, and are you of age now? I'm reading the comment.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, so
Mary in at Facebook. She wants to know if I'm of age now. Yeah, I'm of age now. I can have margaritas all I want now.
oh Lord. So,
So I get where you're going. That we all have a purpose. We came here for a reason, and maybe that is, I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine it myself. So I'm not. It's hard for me to put myself in their shoes. If you're not curious enough to even go out and hug a tree, I don't understand. I don't get it.
yeah, well, that's because you're a tree hugger, and you know what some people think about those. I mean, personally, I'm with you. I can't believe that anybody would live a whole lifetime on this planet and never hug a tree. It's like it's such an amazing process. But, there are those people who don't find that amazing, interesting, and they find it really weird.
Yeah, they do they say tree huggers, Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said to all my friends, you can be strange, just don't be a stranger. I like the strange.
Yes.
So
Oh, so we have a comment in Facebook, and this
mhm.
is from Mary. And I know you can't see her because Facebook has a little device that they're trying to keep you private.
Right.
I think they're a little late to the game, but okay. If you
Ah,
don't click a button, it won't show up with your picture and your name, Mary. So
okay.
this is Mary Shin, and she is in
Hi,
she's
Mary.
yeah, she's a great, wonderful friend. So she'll just have to click on that little button that says give Facebook the permissions to show your face on StreamYard. You should meet Mary. She is very curious. She has retired, but she's still working because she bought a motorhome or a fifth wheel. I think it's a fifth wheel, and she travels around the country in her fifth wheel, and she goes around. She's a caregiver for people. She does camp hosting for different campgrounds and things like that.
Oh,
And
what an awesome thing.
yeah, she's very curious about a lot of things.
You go, girl, Mary. I like your attitude and your style.
Oh, she says we should schedule a cruise and experience all the adventure.
There you go, baby.
All
We-
right.
Yeah, I used to do cruises, and I'd take groups and we'd do meditations and all kinds of things. But there's nothing like doing a powerful group meditation on the water because you can't get grounded. You're on the water.
Yeah,
So meditation just goes to a whole new level.
that
So
would be interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Would be
very
very
interesting.
interesting. Yeah. I took a cruise for my 60th birthday. I decided to take my family with me, and we left out of Galveston and we went for a week.
What
Now,
ship did you go on?
it was a Carnival cruise line. I
Was
don't
it the
remember.
Magic?
No,
No.
no, I don't remember the name of it. But if
No.
you said it, I would remember. Um, I thought it was interesting. I think I'd rather do a river cruise than a ship like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just an experience. I don't know. I just found it to be interesting. Now, the curiosity for me was getting off the ship. And you've probably been to other countries,
Mm-hmm.
right? You've been on a
Oh
ship.
yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And
So
lots of cruises. I've done lots of cruises.
my experience was so weird as you got off the Carnival sidewalk and stepped outside of that. It's an invisible line from money, no money. It was
Mm.
crazy. Like literally a line, golden ash. I mean, those people were really poor.
Yeah, it's true.
It was
Well, it depends on what. Well, I assume you were in the Caribbean islands.
Well, yeah, we started out in Galveston. We went to um gosh, I can't, isn't that terrible? I've wiped it out of my mind already. But we went to the islands. Yes, we went to not Cabo. Oh my goodness, I can't remember the name of the islands that we went to.
You only went to one?
No, we went to three.
Oh, okay.
Honduras was one of them.
Okay.
Um,
Well, any of those Caribbean islands have that kind of social structure. Most of them. Um, it's more visible in some than others. Um, Honduras being one of the ones that is more. You don't see quite as much of it in the Cayman Islands. Um, it's there, I'm sure, but it's kind of like Houston, Texas. Same thing. It just depends on what part of town you're in.
that's true.
So, they're just a lot more squeezed together. So
Yeah,
it's a little more obvious.
yeah.
But I enjoy cruising. I have never done a river cruise, although that is kind of not a supremely important bucket list item, but it is kind of something I would like to experience.
Mhm.
But I like being out on the ocean. I like being out where I can't see land. I enjoy that.
Mary is looking for the button I was talking about. It's actually not a button. It's in the description above what you're seeing us. You're seeing the live broadcast that we're doing right now, Mary. And right above it, it says, I'm going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment, please grant StreamYard permission to see your name at streamyard.com/Facebook. So it's not a button, I'm so sorry to say, because I did say that.
You did.
Yeah, sorry. She was following directions.
Yep. And she's obviously got that curiosity going. So that's
Yeah, she's like,
right on theme. We're right on theme.
Yeah.
Good for her. So yeah, it's I think the river cruise would be a really interesting thing. I've kind of wanted to do a European one, but one in the United States would be kind of interesting too. Just because, I mean, I've seen a lot of the United States. I've actually seen quite a bit of Europe too, but to see it from that perspective, I think would be interesting. You know, from coming in from the water side of a city rather than the airport or, you know, major highway. I mean, you think about it, that's our country. Our country was built on those rivers, right?
What's that?
I said our country was built on those rivers that they do those river cruises on. I mean, we wouldn't be where we are today if those rivers hadn't provided the transport for people to spread out.
Yeah. I remember when I went to Missouri to visit a friend of mine, and she took me to the Mississippi River. I was so, I was just in awe of how fast it was moving, how big it was. My God, if you fell in there, you'd be gone. I mean, it was moving.
Modocking.
Darn. I'm used to these little rivers like River Raisin. You know, I grew up in Monroe, Michigan. We had a little river. We had a little dam, you know, the waterfall. You know, that's the kind of river I'm used to. That thing was huge.
Not the mighty Mississippi, huh?
Unbelievable.
No, true enough.
Oh, look, Mary found the button.
Yeah. Oh, hello, Mary. Let me see. I know you. I've met you. You look very familiar. I probably met you at Marion's house.
No, I've never met her. We're just friends on Facebook.
On Facebook, really?
Yeah.
Wait, she looks really familiar to me.
You know who she looks like in that picture that you know is Donna Fisher.
Yeah, she does.
She does, doesn't she?
She does. That's probably what I was thinking. Yeah.
That's what you're thinking,
And
yeah.
she's a gorgeous woman.
Yes, she is.
A beautiful soul.
Yes, she is.
I think that's exactly what it is.
I think so too. In that picture, she looks a lot like her, yeah.
Yeah.
So Donna is in charge of the bookstore at Unity here in Houston.
Right.
And she's got it going on. She does all kinds of things over there at Unity.
Yes,
she runs all kinds of great groups.
And great bookstore too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they have great presentations. A lot of good speakers, a lot of workshops, a lot of good things going on at that location.
Yeah. So are you still over there in the what's it called, the area that you live in? It's like a town inside Houston.
Oh, Meadows Place.
Meadows Place.
Yes, our little town here. We're really an interesting little town. We're surrounded by Stafford, and we kind of butt up against Sugar Land and Houston as well. And we used to be part of Stafford, and then the neighborhood, which is about 4,000 houses, actually created its own town. And we have our own mayor and our own police department and city hall.
Place. I loved it. I remember you used to do an exercise group, and I used to drive over there every day and exercise with you. That was awesome.
In our park, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a neat little neighborhood, and so it's just a little hidden gem as far as I'm concerned. I'd always lived in the Heights, and I love the Heights area. Don't get me wrong, but this is different, and it's just an interesting little undiscovered. Although obviously people live here, so it's discovered, but it's very interesting to have such a small town, and it actually has a small town feel. So, I mean, when I go vote right in my neighborhood because they have a voting place at City Hall. So
oh my God, Peggy, I have to tell you about something I'm curious about right now.
Oh, good. Tell me.
And I'm so curious about it. I can hardly stand it. Every day I think about it and I get more and more curious. Okay. So have you ever heard of tiny homes?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm very familiar with tiny homes.
Well, there's a company in Willis, or maybe it's Conroe. I'm not sure exactly where the company is, but they're building all these tiny homes, and then they're building communities. So you can have 20 or 30 or up to 60 people in this community that all have tiny homes. Now,
Awesome.
they're not legal in Houston. I think it's Harris County, you can't have it, but they're looking to change those laws because we're getting bigger, and people are homeless, and we really need smaller, less expensive homes.
Right.
So anyway, it's going to be in Willis, the very first one. They got 5 planned. The very first one's in Willis, and they're having a grand opening this 22nd of February.
Seems like they would wait till a little bit warmer weather, but
Well,
whatever.
I'm so excited about it. I am just so happy. I want to go and buy one because here's the deal. Did you know? Now, this is just Dallas, so you can imagine what Houston's like. They have 1,000 or more people moving into the Dallas area every day. And so you can tell by the way we're growing here in Houston that it's I don't know what the stats are, but it's pretty big, right?
Right.
And so I don't know, they need other alternatives. And to me, I want to prove to myself that I could live in a like a camper van or a tiny house, maybe not forever, but like when my sister moved to Dallas, her husband was transferred from Florida to Dallas, and they didn't know anything. And they went to go rent a place, and by the time they got there, it was already rented. Somebody already rented it.
Oh no.
They did the same thing, and then they did the same thing. Finally, they had to rent it sight unseen in order to get something.
Wow. That's amazing because I just see so much building and construction going on, but I think the tiny home movement is, all energies, situations, whatever, have a pendulum swing that they go through, and I think we had gotten to the point where people were just getting bigger and bigger houses where, 2 people would be living in 3,500 square feet or 5,000 square feet or whatever. And it was just over the top. When I was doing those television interviews for Ion TV back, I don't know, 10 years ago or whatever, and I was traveling around the country doing their public affairs shows, one of the things that I interviewed in Scottsdale, Arizona. I was interviewing some people from their city hall, council people, and they were getting ready to institute a luxury tax for any single family home above 3,500 square feet. And it was going to be big because people had just gotten out of hand. And it's like, then you got to air condition it, heat it. It's crazy. What do 2 people or 1 person need that many square feet for? And by the way, I've lost you. I'm not seeing you anymore, Marion. Are you there? I think either she's lost me or I've lost her. Oh, there you are. What happened?
My computer decided to reboot.
I'm like, okay, she's gone.
Oh,
Welcome back.
yes.
I missed you.
I was
I
like,
just
keep
kept,
talking. Keep
I just
talking,
kept on
Peggy Sue.
talking. I just kept on talking while you were gone.
Good.
Talking to dead air, or maybe somebody's out there. But anyway, I was talking about people just going overboard with the square footage of their homes,
Oh, I know.
and so I think there's a backlash going on now, and with 2 segments of our society. First, the young people who, you know, don't. Yes, and That's where I was going. Is that as we get older, I know now. I mean, I turned 66 on last December 15th. So I'm thinking, at this stage of my life, I'm starting to feel like I don't really want to own anything. you know, I just don't want to own anything much anymore. I mean, I still have a home. Well, actually, two houses that I care for now. But eventually, I'm going to want to say, um, no more. I don't want to own stuff.
I know. I could literally sell this house. Don't tell Becky. I could sell this house today, tomorrow, okay, and get rid of everything and move into a little camper van or a tiny house and be so happy. Let me tell you what they have.
Tell me.
I'm doing magic tricks. There we go. They have a heated pool, a hot tub. They have an indoor library, indoor and outdoor living area, a shared garden.
Oh, I
They
like that.
have oh yeah, they have everything you could possibly want. An exercise area. Like not the YMCA, but you know what I mean. Like they have
Right. A workout
workout
area. Yeah.
places. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And a great big place where you could do cookouts where they have built-ins.
So are these places that you rent or buy?
You buy them.
You buy them. Okay. So it's
And
kind
the
of buying.
guy, you don't buy the lot, and so there's no taxes,
Oh, gotcha.
right? Now I'm sure that the guy who owned it and the salesperson talking, might or might not be the best person to hear this from, but he told me if you bought one, you could probably resell it for more than you bought it for a week later, because once they're sold, that community is gone. And I think there's 68 in that community. And there's
Well,
just no,
if it catches on, that would probably be true.
yes. So Mary says, have some spaces to rent for my fifth wheel. You mean the tiny home places? I don't think they're going to let motorhomes or fifth wheels in there. But so Mary was saying that she could be the caregiver.
Huh. There you go.
Remember, I told you she does the campground work camping. So yes, Mary, you do pay for rent. So he told me the rent is $650 a month, and that includes everything: your water, your sewer, your whatever, your
And all
garbage,
the facilities.
and all the facilities.
Well, that's not really too bad.
And Karen wants to know, are they going to be a gated community? I think so, because I saw they have a Facebook page, and I saw them bringing in a brand new home today because they're having their grand opening in February. And so it looked like they had a gate that had to open in order for the trailer to bring in the home. So I think they're going to be gated.
So you have to bring in your own tiny home?
No, they build them themselves, and they're bringing them in.
Okay.
And they
Gotcha.
should have plenty for people to choose from by the time the grand opening is here. But he did say that you could tell them what you wanted and actually have it custom built.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like you're moving into a condo during the building stage, you get to pick the finishes. Same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, Kathy Ingham, right? That had
Well, the name sounds familiar.
that had Green Planet Sanctuary.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So she and her husband have moved out toward Brown Top, and they have 17 acres, and they have a couple of tiny homes on it. They have built a home for them. Then they have a couple of tiny houses. They have a yurt and a pavilion area so people can go out and stay in the tiny homes. So you might want to go try one, maybe rent one for a week and see how you really feel about that.
You have a point. So right now I have my realtor looking for a house with a separate living facility, like a mother-in-law, but it has to be a separate. And the reason is one of Becky's friends and lady that she takes care of, she's going to be moving with us when we move, but she smokes, and I don't want her in the house, so she has to have her own.
Right.
So maybe a tiny house, could
Yeah.
be good on that. Who knows?
There you are. So y'all are moving?
I don't know when. Nothing's selling right now because everything flooded over here. So everybody's still gun shy on that, but
Yeah.
We'll see.
I want to just ask, I want to back up a couple of
Okay.
minutes there. And somebody wrote up there that they were doing magic. Who was that?
Oh, that was me. Because I rebooted. Let's see. Marion is curiously doing magic acts.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Oh Lord. Well,
Yeah.
I think the tiny house movement is really awesome. I do. I think it's a part of a whole bigger picture of just being more cognizant and aware of, what kind of footprint we're making on the planet. You look at the houses that most of us are living in now. I'm living in. I know you're living in too. They're built on slabs, and that takes up a lot of the ground space that water can't soak in. So that's why we're having so much more flooding. We've covered up so much ground that the water has no place to go. Whereas, you go back to the 40s and probably the early 50s, houses were built on pier and beam.
Yeah, our house in the Heights was on pier and beam.
Yeah, of course. And it's a much more expensive process to build them that way. But of course, back then you didn't have air conditioning. So part of the reason for building them up was airflow. But also there's a lot of practical reasons to build on pier and beam. And that's, getting to your plumbing, which is a real problem when you're on a slab. If there's a problem with your plumbing, to getting to all that. So
that's the problem I'm having right now. So we don't really understand how it happened, but there's two areas of plumbing in the house. One's on this side of the house and one's on that side of the house. And the other side of the house, the pipe just broke. And I guess because of the weight of the house, or I don't know what happened, but during the flood, it just completely got saturated with stuff. They can't even get a camera through. So there's no way to fix it. And the only thing they can do, they said, is to drill down and take up my whole my bathroom, my floor, and try to put a new pipe in. Yeah. Well, that was going to cost like $23,000.
I know, that's what I'm talking about. It's very impractical. I mean, it's fine when the house is new,
right?
But houses settle, and over time, anything is going to may have an issue. And plumbing is a big problem with houses that are built on slabs.
Yes. So we finally had a plumber that came out, because we kept, having plumbers come out. We finally had one that came out that was able to tell me that they could cut that pipe off and take a little piece out to the yard and run it down the side of the yard, and that would only be $16,000.
Well, that is better.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah. But there you have it. This is a big issue, and so I don't see builders changing what they're doing anytime in the near future. But
no.
But tiny houses are up off the ground.
I was really looking forward to buying a motorhome and just being able to get up and go if there's a hurricane coming or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Leave. Bye.
Oh, get the hell out of Dodge.
Right.
It's true. Well, you could. Some tiny houses are capable of being moved, but they're not. If you have one of any size, you're not going to want to move it often.
He said it is movable, but don't. That's what he said. Yeah. So to answer Karen's question, how much security do they provide? I haven't been to the place yet, and that's why I'm so curious. I see them on Facebook, the tiny home place, But I haven't gotten all my questions answered, and I really want to go and see it for myself.
Yeah.
It's in Willis, so it's not just hop, skip, and a jump, you know.
Yeah, well, let me know. I mean, I wouldn't mind going and checking it out too. I mean, I think that's, and I know a couple of other people who have talked about this concept. So, you know, that'd be fun just to
All
go out.
right.
And Willis is like northwest of here, right?
If you go all the way up 45 and past Conroe, past Panorama Village, I think the next city is Willis, and it's right off of 45.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very interesting concept, and I think it is a concept whose time has come. And so, yeah, I think we'll see more of that kind of thing.
You know, Peggy, I'm going to put your phone number up here in case somebody wants to get a hold of you.
Okay.
I know that Peggy is semi-retired, but I know you're still seeing clients. Tell us what you do.
Oh
Tell us
gosh,
how do you serve the world?
how do
Peggy
I
Sue
serve the
Skipper.
world? Well, a couple of things. One, I am an intuitive hand analyst, which means that I literally read people's hands and help them understand who they are. This is not palmistry. It's different than palmistry. It's more about what's your life purpose, what are you here to learn. It's sort of, I call it a personality profile on steroids. So that has always been interesting work for me. And I think everybody feels like they have some kind of purpose. You know, what am I here for? Please. So, and not everyone understands that what it is. They're not completely sure that they're doing what they should be doing with their life. So hand analysis can help them look at that. And oftentimes people are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And it's just nice to have that verification. And then I also talk to clients on an ongoing basis, just if they're having issues in their life. Not quite like a therapist, but similar to that, sort of a neutral sounding board. But I'm also an intuitive. So I do help with maybe seeing a big picture that it's difficult to see for ourselves. Does that make sense?
It does, and I have witnessed and been to your groups and got my hand analysis, and I took some courses that you had at your house, and gosh, you know, there's something about you that people connect with.
Oh,
It's,
thanks.
yes, it's totally different than, you know, than you, like you said, you would get at a therapist, or you would get at, you know, I don't know what you might go for, but everybody needs, like you said, a sounding board. Everybody needs a different perspective. And you're so intuitive that you can give a perspective that nobody else can.
Well, thank you, Marion. I
Oh, you're very
appreciate that.
welcome. Oh, yes, it's very true.
It's interesting. Um, you know, like I said, I used to tell people I'm always looking for interesting reading material, you know, and reading hands is interesting to me. People are interesting to me. What makes us tick? What motivates us? What demotivates us? And that's different for different people. There are some universal things, but when we start looking at our subconscious programming that ties in with our actual purpose, which may or may be suppressed for a lot of people, it's really interesting to see how people can blossom when they have permission, or somehow feel that they've been given permission to be who they truly are.
You know, I'm one of those. I know exactly what you're talking about. My father was a dictator. He was 6'4". He was a table pounder. He was in charge. He lots of money. He had everybody did whatever Dr. Alexander said to do, and including his children. And I remember thinking to myself, you know, why try? You know, you have to do what the man says, so why try? You
Right.
know, you can't really be yourself. And I did try to be myself. Like, I was really interested in psychic abilities and all this stuff, and I was shot down. And I just can't imagine. I can imagine I can't imagine what my life would have been like had I been free to be me. So I remember the day that I gave myself permission to be who I am and not
So
care what other people think. I know, and
I
you were
know.
part of that. You were part of that, Peggy Sue. Do you know that?
I don't know that. I didn't know that, but that gives me a spiritual orgasm. So, but that's what I love to hear. I mean, when no matter where it comes from, when people get to that point, but you have, if I'm looking at the big picture of your life in this case, since you were just talking about that, then your dad was an important master teacher for you because you got past what he suppressed in you, and that was all part of the big picture. So, master teacher, thanks, Dad. I mean, you can always say, I can really pick those master teachers. I really pick them because they're good, and they're almost always family members.
Oh, I love my father much more. I have a relationship with him now that he's been gone for 25 years.
Oh,
We have a real relationship now. Oh, thanks, Karen. It's 2020. It's a year for you
yes,
and being you,
yes,
and that's you,
yes,
and that's you, and you.
absolutely. But
And
there are always levels. There's always going to be someone that comes into our life or tries to come into our life to stifle us. I think that's just part of the human being condition. But as we grow and evolve, we don't get sucked into that like we used to, even though it triggers some subconscious programming.
we're more aware of it now.
Right. And I know that you understand. Well, first of all, I know that you're very intuitive because I've been in groups with you and we've been working with that. So, kudos to you for owning up and embracing that. But one thing that you have, Marion, that's wonderful combination for that is you have also the training and the experience for the psychological issues as well as the what I call the energetic issues. Right?
Yes, I believe that. I believe that to be true. I brought something with me that couldn't be pushed down forever. It had to come up. And yeah. And, it started with what the bleep do we know? And I went, whoa. At first, and then I saw The Secret. So at first I thought, oh my God, I'm so mad at all those people who lied to me.
They didn't lie, they just didn't know.
They didn't know. I know, but I know that now. But at first I was like, they lied to me. And then I got over that and realized, and that's one of the reasons why I have such a good relationship with my father today. And that is because he did the best that he could with the tools he had at the time. And I believe that.
Well, he not only did the best he could, but he was very good at helping you learn the lessons that you needed to learn. You would have learned those if he hadn't treated you the way you were treated.
Right.
You wouldn't have been able to earn your stripes,
Right.
We have to do that in spite of and because of, our master teachers. So, he's an important piece of that, a really important piece of that. And so I would just honor him for that part that he played.
So Karen is at her mom's in the Woodlands today, taking care of her sister and her mom. And she says her mom is very intuitive and she's listening to us. So thanks, Mom.
Thanks. I love intuitive people. And I will say that about my business. I only attracted high intuitives as clients.
One of your clients, I know you know this already, but let me tell the audience who's watching and listening. One of her clients started a hypnosis school right here in the Houston area.
Oh.
Yes. And she's fantastic. Talk about an intuitive man.
Important work. There again, blending because I've said this to a lot of my clients because they are all are high intuitives. So it's like, okay, when you were born, did your parents look down at you and go, look, we have a little psychic baby. Let's send her to psychic school.
No.
You know, right? Because
No.
there was no psychic school,
Right?
you know? So at least none that anybody would talk about
Right.
or knew about.
That's
And then
right.
it was like this taboo thing. So, you know, but that's changed so much, you know, but still, and one of my favorite stories, when I was working on a cruise ship one time with the psychic and spiritual healing cruise, which I did for about 10 years, once a year, we were having a meeting of the talent, and we were going to have it in the restaurant while the restaurant was closed. And this cute little hostess, as we walked up, she goes, oh, you're the psychos. And we're like, yeah, that's us. That would be us.
It's awesome. I love that.
I know, right?
Uh-huh.
But anyway, it's, you know, people just don't understand. They just don't. And there's no understanding. There's no, not understanding. And it wouldn't be a diagnosis, but there's no acknowledgement of psychic ability in the psychiatric world.
Right. They're
So
crazy.
there's a lot of misdiagnosis.
Right. They're crazy.
A lot of confusion, all of that. And I know, and I think we're running over, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. I love ya.
Oh, Peggy Sue Skipper, it's always such a pleasure to hang out with you. Please come back and see us.
I will do that, and I hope to see you soon.
Yes, let's get together. I'm going to let you know when I'm planning on going, maybe real soon, not this Saturday because I have a class coming up. I'm teaching how to
we can get a grand opening, or maybe it'd be better to go before that.
I think before that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do the road trip. Hey, I'm kind of semi-retired, so I can go any day.
Okay, that's
all right. Good. I love ya.
Thank you. Now you guys be good and create an awesome day for yourself. See you again real soon. Bye for now.
Every day. I don't know any other way.
All right.
All right.